Turn red. Ready when you are.
All right, I'm calling to order the Thursday, April 11, 2024 version of the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. And I'd like to call this meeting to order and start with a Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Benoit, would you like?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, everyone. All right, we need to have a roll call, please.
Okay, roll call for tonight's meeting. Ward.
Here.
Erickson is excused. Walker.
Here.
Master is excused. Mashlin.
Here.
Benoit.
Here.
And Chair Lebrecht.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, starting with any citizen comments on any subject. Is there anyone who's signed in for an opportunity to speak?
I don't believe so.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. We need an approval of our agenda and the consent agenda.
I so move.
Second.
Okay. All right, we need to call for a vote.
Voting on the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda. Erickson is excused. Walker.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Mashlin.
Yes.
Benoit.
Yes.
And Chair Lebrecht.
Yes.
Okay, your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and on the consent agenda was the approval of the January 11th, 2024 Historic Preservation Meeting Minutes. So we'll have those printed out and ready for you to sign at the next meeting.
Do we need any vote on those as well?
No, we just did.
We just did. We're all good. Okay. All right. Starting with special orders, presentations, and reports, proclamations, and awards. We have no awards to present tonight. We have a city administration report. Anything from city administration?
Nothing from me.
All right. Chair report. I'd just like to say it was a great year last year, great 2023. As you know, we have these meetings on a quarterly basis, so we don't see each other quite as often as we normally do. But I just happened to be looking over with Miss Stacy had sent me some information kind of recapping our highlights for the year. And it was exciting to see, first of all, that we have a full commission. That's great. We have a couple excused tonight, but we normally have a full commission. So pleased about that. I'm thankful for everyone here. And also some things that we got done this year. We did do a nomination for a CLG grant, which we'll talk about later, for the signage to extend the walking tour. So that's something that we got done. We also showed some support for 2023-03 Brown and Hawkins application for CLG application, and we worked through that process and provided some support as well there too, in terms of just some advice and just support from our organization as well. So that went well. We also supported Rotary Park's efforts as well too, in conjunction with that. Just in discussion. And then also the walking tour continued to be a great hit for us over the course of last year, showing the movie over at the library, and then also just a whole lot of folks enjoying that. In addition to having the printed maps, which were original old school that we did, people like. You also, Commissioner Benoit, got a QR code and a sign placed in places where people could just click on that and then go straight to the website and learn more about our city. So we're feeling very good about the continuity of that walking tour. We have a new curator and a new admin here. Thank you very much, Ms. Stacy. Pleasure to have you. And then wonderful staff as always, our clerk here, Chris Peck, and also Jody Kurtz, our deputy clerk. Thank you so much for both supporting us and helping us. It feels like it has become and continue to be, but even better, just a very together effort that we have here with administration, with all the commissioners and the city as well too. Work closely with city manager on some of our efforts as well too. So we really appreciate it. Feels like 2023 was good. Looking forward to a continued excellent 2024. That's all I have from a report. Other reports and announcements. Report on Historic Preservation Facebook page. Commissioner Benoit.
Okay, in
from January through March, we put out 15 posts. And our posts are generally what we always do is during the month we try to put out one post that's on one of our walking tour signs with all the history. We usually have, bits of history. We have posts that are talking about the benefits of historic preservation and why people should want to do it, how it benefits our town economically and in other ways. And we post events and awards and things like that, so that's what those were about. This past quarter, our reach was up almost 50%.
Oh.
Link clicks were up, and the content interaction was up. Right now we have 877 followers, and I don't know how this miracle occurred, but we got 170 new followers since the last time, which is a lot. That's like the biggest jump we've ever had, and new people starting to follow our page since we've been doing this. So somehow they're finding us and they love it, and people are wanting to know what's happening. I think our audience is pretty consistent. It's primarily women, mostly people from Seward, but we do have people from other communities in Alaska, and generally people from 35 to 44, but all age groups. In the packet here, you can see all of the posts that are scheduled to go out, which you'll see most of these at the last meeting. There is a new post that will be going out shortly, which is in here, which talks about congratulating our newest additions to the Seward Register of Historic Places, which include Urbach's, the Standard Oil Manager's House, 6th Avenue Quonset, and I think that was it.
I love the Quonset hut.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Those three things.
You don't
So
see very many of those anymore.
that's a new one that will be going out shortly, and then all the rest are about the same. Of course, we'll probably have some new ones because we've been discussing different potential things we're going to be doing for events, which we'll talk about more later. Seward Historic Preservation Month. So whenever we have new events, we will add some posts on there to let people know about that. Also, we're going to have some additional posts trying to get people to nominate somebody for the, what is the name of the award? Historic
Preservation Award. Yeah.
So there will be a few additional ones. And other than that, I guess, put the question out to you all, if you can think of anything we need to put a post out about that is not already listed or mentioned.
Good group of postings.
No, they're really good, Marianne.
Thank you. So if you guys do think of something, just let me know. But I think we're pretty good to go.
And one of the things that I'm proud of, again, is that as we did the walking tour, I think we've counted that there were 7 sites that had actually done improvements, painting and so on, to their historic sites, to their historic homes during the time that we did that. So again, we're continuing, it's one of our jobs is continuing to just encourage historic preservation and make it more accessible and more kind of exciting to all. So
Yeah.
all these posts and everything, you see that there's interest. That's great.
It's inspired people to also want to have their property on a historic walking tour. They maybe didn't in the past, now they see what things look like, and they're inspired to.
They want to be a
more
part of
involved.
it.
They want to be a part of it.
That's right.
So that is all I have on that.
Thank you very much. Well done. Do we have any presentations? I'm not aware of any, but no one's asked to do any presentations, or are there any citizens who want to do presentations? I don't see any. All right, and we've already approved the minutes as well. We have no unfinished business. Under new business, approving the 2024 Historic Preservation Award recipients. So during the previous, earlier today, we had the work session, and we talked about Historic Preservation Award. We, at this point in time, have not received any applications. It was pushed out previously, but we have not received any nominations yet. We're going to extend that date to April 25th, and we're going to send it out via a manner of ways, both from the clerk's office, put up at the library as well, look into doing some radio and putting up around various areas around town so that we can encourage nominations. I encourage anyone listening to this, watching this video as well, to please submit 2024 Historic Preservation Awards. You can go to the city website and you can see a description of the award as well as a form to download and or print out and send for that, and there's instructions for that there. So again, we're extending to April 25th with the target date that in late May we would be able to award that at a city council meeting. Okay. Next item of business is assigning a council date to present the 2024 Historic Preservation Award, which we said we would do at the latter meeting, which would be May 28th with City Council, and then also assigning a council date for presenting the 2023 HPC Annual Report, some of which I referenced some of the information from it earlier in my report, and I discussed that with Ms. Stacy about doing that also on May 28th at that City Council meeting. We could combine that with giving the Historic Preservation Award as well as doing a report on our HPC activities in 2023.
Does city council, it seems like last time we had so much time. I mean, city council sort of drives that.
You know, we need to check with them because, to your point, I think what they did is that they had all of the commissions present at one time. So I'm proposing we could do that at the same time, but if our clerk could check and see if there's already a preset time that they would prefer for us to do it, we could present at that time, or we can present on 28th.
Because I remember we had like, each of the commissions were allotted so much time.
15 minutes or something, yeah.
And all of the commissions, you're correct, all of the commissions were there. So that was kind of driven by city council.
And it ended rather early, right? Is that what you're referring to? I think planning and zoning went last.
Right.
They didn't have a very lengthy report, and then there was kind of like a 20-minute gap between
the two.
But that particular evening, I believe it was a work session followed by a meeting. Yeah. But in this case, I would want
it was more formal.
Include it on the regular meeting agenda,
right?
Rather than being like a separate work session or special meeting.
Right. So, but we want to be available for that, and we've already started putting together that report, correct? Yeah, on it.
If administration, if you could just clarify for us that we're not adding something to their plate that they already had plans for, that would be awesome.
Okay.
That's the main thing. We should report to them. But
yeah, I think that would be fine to include that on the agenda. I'll double check with the city manager, but yeah, I don't see any issue with it.
Thank you very much.
Question, do we need to set a special meeting between April 25th and May 28th to vote on?
We probably need to.
The award recipient.
We would need to.
And we do that through the city manager, correct?
Correct. And she could not be here tonight. She's still making her way back from Washington, D.C.
So, I mean, that's really dependent on if we get some nominees. I don't want to set up a meeting and go through all that if we, and then we may have, but we may have to have a meeting to do it ourselves. Yeah, we may, I've got a couple of people in mind that I would be happy, so I should go on the website and fill it out. But, yeah.
So can a survey be sent out to ask if a meeting's okay, or do we need to tentatively pick that tonight? If we're talking about a city council meeting on Tuesday the 28th, we're talking about the nominations being secured by the 25th of this month. Like you said, we have the next week, the week of the 29th, or the week of the 6th, week of 13th, week of 20th. We got a lot of time. But do we tentatively want to look at a date?
But, and the city manager will want us to ask, can we have a meeting on this date? Blah, blah, blah. She'll want us
So if we get applicants or nominations, I should say, by the extended deadline of April 25th, then you would want a special meeting between that date and probably May 22nd at the, no, May 21st at the absolute kind of latest to make it into the council packet for the
Right.
28th.
Right. And it would just be reviewing the nominations. It shouldn't take a lot of time. It shouldn't take a lot of staff time, whatever. But, you know, we need to vote on it. And
I'd propose a Thursday around the 16th. That gives us plenty of time. And Thursday would probably work better for me if that works for anyone else's
yeah,
schedule.
Thursday's fine.
Of May.
May 16th. And so, do we need to put in a request to the city manager?
We don't have to at this time, but if we get nominations,
Then-
I think then we could,
We'll know on the 25th.
we'll know by the 25th.
Just so
And that's
we
still
don't-
plenty of time for
Okay.
a special meeting notice.
I'm not gonna be here May 16th.
Okay, let's look at a different date. We just need to have a
Sorry,
quorum,
it's my
right?
mother's
Yeah.
80th birthday, and we're gonna be in Vegas.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a high priority. As long as we have a quorum, you could review them. If we get them early, you could review them and give us your input.
Is that acceptable? Okay, then let's
So we'll,
look at the 16th for now, and just so we don't miss that step. Where are the nominations going to go to once they're forwarded? Do they go to the clerk's office or do they come to Miss Stacy? Where do they end up so we know when we get them?
They eventually make their way to the clerk's office.
It's the clerk's office email on the nomination form.
is it?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if in fact we get those, you'll let us know that we have some, and then that would trigger May 16th. And I'd rather lock things down for people because otherwise their schedules may not be available anymore.
Right, I agree. That sounds like a good game
So are
plan.
we better off just setting a date and then we can cancel May 16th? Is that what we should do? If it doesn't happen? Should we just set that date?
I think it's a good date to keep in mind if you're all available except for Commissioner Mashlin, but if that works for everybody else, then I'd say that would be the default
The default
to
date.
go with, and then if something comes up,
I think I'm gonna be gone.
you're gonna be gone.
Are you? Okay, well then let's wait and trigger on the 25th.
Oh, they're looking at Thursday, May 16th.
That's the last day of school.
May.
Oh.
Yeah. That's his last day.
That's not a good time.
That's last day of
I was
school.
thinking that too.
May
With
9th?
Graduation.
May 9th?
Yeah. Sadly, I'm available.
What day of the week is that?
It'll be Thursdays, I think he's looking at Thursdays.
May 9th is not gonna work for me because I'm gonna be out of town. So let's wait and see what happens on those nominations. If you can let us, if we can do a trigger here that on April 25th, if you can send us a message and let us know if you've received any
It doesn't have to
applications.
be a Thursday, but
Yeah,
No,
you
it
could-
doesn't.
Friday,
You
it could
could
be
always
Saturday.
break tradition.
Yeah.
There's
Thursdays, I
also
always know I'm
a-
in Seward. I always make sure I'm in Seward.
There's a Thursday, May 2nd.
April 25th is also Thursday.
May 2nd? It's, you know, if we get a few nominations, it won't be a real long. If we get 2 or 3, probably give them all out. You know, I
Let's
mean, that's what
put-
we've done in the past, multiple.
Let's put May 2nd now and we'll just see who can come, and as long as we have a quorum
Right.
and we can get the input. You're able to send those out to us to take a look at before the meeting, is that correct, if we get some?
Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
Then let's do that. If we get some, let's put them out, and then let's plan on May 2nd, and we'll just make sure we have a quorum of folks to vote.
It's the
Any input from anybody beforehand? Sounds great. All right, let's talk about National Historic Preservation Month activities. I'm happy to report that we had a work session previous to this meeting, and there were a lot of good ideas that were floated, and thank you again to Ms. Stacy for helping put some of these ideas together, and Vice Chair Ward for having this calendar so we remember this is time to do this, and for everyone's input. We had a very vibrant discussion on things that we could do with the Preservation Month. Also, as pointed out by Commissioner Mashburn, this is the 50th anniversary of celebrating the National Historic Preservation Month, so that's very exciting as well too. And the idea is just to put a spotlight on historic preservation. It is the whole month. What we've got working so far is we talked about a public display at the Library and Museum display case, which our curator, Ms. Stacy, will do. And organizing a community gathering, we had a discussion about having that potentially at St. Peter's. So Commissioner Mashburn was going to look into that for us as well too, and that being the starting point for us to do an invite to the walking tour that evening, as well as potentially some other activities, including having some kids' activities with historic property coloring sheets, as well as a visit to the museum to see the walking tour video that's there as well too. So some activities all around that on one particular day that we would pick. And so some committees will be working on that. Additional to that, holding a how-to workshop, just kind of educating people on historic preservation and some of the grants and so on that are available out there. I've committed to reaching out to the State Historic Preservation Office and seeing if they would be interested in coming down and doing a how-to session as well too. And then social media posts. You may have seen that every month we have social media posts that are put up by our Commissioner Benoit here, but talking about doing some additional social media posts, sharing the historic place photos and info, resharing free webinars, etc. We'll work on that, but just really promoting over the course of the month the value of historic preservation. So we had a good, vibrant discussion about this. Anyone else have anything else they want to add about our discussion or anything on that tour or anything else?
I was just thinking I want to look into more detail about this 50th anniversary and maybe create some more Facebook posts about that, because that seems pretty significant to me. So.
That's real significant, yeah.
I like it. It's exciting. It's a good meeting. All right, and then informational items reports, our regular meeting work session. August 8, 2024 is the next meeting as well. Other items is our CLG process update. So CLG stands for the Certified Local Government Grants. We are a CLG in the city of Seward, and we did put in an application back in January for the Seward Historic Register Historic Walking Tour. We did put the Historic Walking Tour in. We did not get awarded this time. The State Historic Preservation Office received a really high number of applications than anticipated. They encouraged us to please apply again. The selection process for this grant round was really competitive. Given the available funding, they have reduced funding as well too, and just a lot of applicants. But I have to say that I was actually really excited about that, because what that means is on a state basis, there's an increasing amount of attention by folks around the state on historic preservation. And that's actually pretty darn exciting. So we do have our 26 walking tour signs. I do believe that we're just queued up to really put that application back in again in either fall 2024 or January 2025 to be determined. I feel pretty good about it. We've got an application that's already put together. But for now, we'll just say kudos to all those other folks who are getting those grants and be grateful that we got ours before. So that's the update on that process. All right, the grant station updates. Ms. Stacy, would you like to talk about that? You said City of Seward's working with IT department. Maybe talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So once the city manager comes back from travels, we've already had meetings with the library deputy director and the IT department. Pretty much what the grant station is a website that will be fully accessible by not only the staff, but by the public to go in and research grants. Depending, it's kind of a very simple Google search of searching for grants that will be made available through the state of Alaska. Thank you, Todd Mashlin, for doing the background research on that. And yes, so the IT department will be setting that up likely around April 16th. If I got my dates correctly, yes. So, and that will be made available through any computer within the Seward Community Library and Museum.
So can you sign up for that, to work on the computers if you don't have a computer, or
So it
how
would
did the
all-
public access it?
They would have to come to the library
Okay.
and use one of the public accessible library computers that they have.
That's great. I've always wanted a grant library, and you've done it. Outstanding.
Very
I'm
exciting.
really thrilled about that.
And it has a great filter system, which, you can go by state, you can go by whether you're CLG or a nonprofit, 501, etc. So,
If I might add, their website, Grant Station's website, where they sell this product, provide tutorials
and webinars too, free
that
webinars.
that
you can
are
watch.
accessible. The longest one was like 52 minutes, and that was the general how to use Grant Station, and then there are several series of 6 and 7 minute examples of how people might use it for
People just starting it,
educational
yeah.
project, or for a social service project, or for restoration project. So I would encourage you, even before it's up and running, to take a look at the
Outstanding.
grantstation.com website and peruse those how-to videos.
And the library staff will receive training on it, so if you ever come in and there's any difficulties, they can assist you too.
That's very exciting. Again, speaking
Always a
to
goal.
the goal of what we do, Historic Preservation Commission, is to educate. So while we're not doing that directly, we're helping facilitate something we've talked about for a long time, having this grant resource. So thank you guys for making that happen. That's very, very exciting. So happy about that. And let's see what else we've got. Hoban Park updates.
I think Hoban Park is on the agenda because it's on the schedule. This is about the time, because our next meeting, well, it happens, was it May? But we usually are responsible for doing the flowers in the urns. That's something that this commission has always been responsible for. So it's something that needs to be on the agenda and discussed. I believe Cheryl Cease has done it in the past, and she was pretty much a regular person doing it. It requires planting, and I think we actually have a budget. We did in the past. There was a budget for some flowers, and then they have to be watered. There's been periodically going to the city to see if we could get on their sprinkler, because they have to be watered every other day or so. That, they're right in the teeth of the bay, so they take a hammering. And I know that Cheryl, and I'd be happy to contact Cheryl, there were particular plants over time that she understood survived better. So I believe that's why it's on the agenda.
Actually, it's something different.
Okay, well, I was gonna say that's something that needs to be happened, and then I know there were some things that historically we were doing with the fountain and lilac trees and other things.
Actually, the city had agreed to take on the planting and the watering.
Oh, yay, I didn't know
And that
that.
happened, I could think at the last meeting.
Yeah,
Mellon House had told me
Yeah, I
that.
recall you mentioning that.
And
So that's official? They'll take
that's
it
what
on?
she said.
Okay,
That'd
great.
be amazing.
That would be superb.
This particular update was about an updating on a project related to memorial bench for Lee Plesky that I brought up the last week, which I don't think you were at.
No, I missed it.
So, this particular thing is, like I told you before, as part of Rotary Park project, which this commission is a partner on, we had an anonymous donor that said, hey, I'd like to donate a memorial bench with a plaque for Lee Plesky, because he was a partner on that project also. And then we also had another donation of a bench from the senior center that we were going to use for a memorial for Rotarians. we didn't have enough room for 2 benches, so we decided that we would put Lee's bench down here at Hoban Park just because he did so much work and down there, and that's where some of the other stuff is, like the, what do you call it, the Iditarod, some of the Iditarod.
The start of the Iditarod,
Trailhead or whatever it
and
is.
then there's the statue that the Trailblazers just put up for Alfred Lowell.
So that's kind of what, we decided to move it down there, and we thought it would be better for his bench, because we could only have a room for 1. So this update was just to say, the plaque is in, I saw it, and it's beautiful, the bench is ready, so that will be put on and put out there pretty soon. And the plaque says, in memory of Lee Plesky, teacher, historian, Iditarod Trailblazer. And it looks really nice.
Oh, wow, that's really
That's what
super.
that's about.
That's cool.
The second thing, should I just go through these? Okay, so the second thing, this collaborative project opportunity at 1111 2nd Avenue, that's where the sign is for the Stucco Johnson House. At the last meeting, we talked about trying to get grant funding for 10 different sites that we had prioritized, and this happened to be one of the sites. Well, we didn't get the grant funding to actually go forward, but this particular site is on city property. So I sent a note to Melanie and said, okay, we didn't get the grant funding. Is the city willing to pay to do this sign? Because they previously had said that they would pay for the sign. And then we kind of added them to the grant application. So I had said I would look into the cost just to do one sign by itself, because as you only do one, it's a lot more expensive than if you do 10. So when I talked to Melanie a couple days ago, it sounded like they are interested. I don't think they finally decided, but it's likely that they will pay for that sign and want to do that anyway. And I'm happy. I've kind of already started the process. The sign already has most of the information we need, which is be rewriting that, putting some new pictures, and kind of updating it. I can work with the sign designer, so I'm happy to help with that. If they want to pay, we can make that happen. So I'll just wait and see if, they decide they want to do that. As far as the Seward Historic Register nominations, I had mentioned before, we had a reporter that wanted to write an article in the paper, I think they were from Kenai, about these nominations, or these awards. And so one thing I brought up is I think we better let these people know that they have been awarded these things first before we put something in the paper. So I contacted all of them. I sent them an email, which is listed here, and let them know about the awards, because I thought they should hear about it from us first, rather than seeing it in the paper. And so I just want to say that you can see what I sent them. The recipients were Urbach's Standard Oil Manager's House and the Alaska Point of View Quonset Hut, which would be Urbach family, Don Clary and family, and Deborah Hoffmeister has Alaska's Point of View Quonset Hut. So they're all very happy to receive their award, very honored, and all aware. Let's see. And then the final thing was the historic walking tour signs. So that's what we had prioritized, these 10 different places, and we put them in the application and said we would like to get a grant funding to do 10 more signs. And we did not get the grant funding, but my thought was, it is still important, I think, to let these people know that first of all, they ranked out in the top 10 to potentially get a sign for the next round. And second, that we applied for this grant money, but we didn't get it right now.
And my thought would be, this would be something to clarify with you guys, is like, if we are planning on applying for another grant, we still want to do this, for us to say, yes, we want to do that. And then send them all a letter, let them know, hey, you ranked out to get a sign. We've applied for a grant, we didn't get this one, but we're gonna keep submitting for these grants until we do get one. And the next one is in the fall, and we feel very confident that we will get one at some point. And just to keep them in the loop of what's happening, because some of these people don't even know that they ranked to get a sign. So I wrote a letter, which is included here, of what I was thinking would be good, to either send them an email or call them on the phone and talk to them and tell them these things. So I just didn't want to do that until got it okay from you guys. But we do want to apply for grants in the future, and it would be a good idea to contact them, see if you're okay with this.
So we will apply for grants in the future because we can take what we have done before and resubmit. It will take us, I would say in August we should talk about that because we need to at least vote on it and say, yes, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So we could talk about it at the August meeting, and if we go forth that that's the case, then if in September, we might know by September. Answer to your question, yes. As I check with Maria from CLG, I'll ask her when the next round is. It could be, as we mentioned previously, either in September for a grant or in January. So I'll ask her. We could talk about it in August if there's a September time period, which we probably would know by then if there's going to be a September time period. Even if it's January, we could still say that's something we need to move forward with. So I invite open discussion on what you guys think about sending this letter out.
A quick question, what was the grant amount request?
20, no, it was less than that this time. This time was around 15,000, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was just 15.
15,000 is what I remember.
And that was,
Matching grant. So 60-40 matching grant, and we asked for 15,000. So.
Which is basically for 10 signs, I think our cost
Design,
estimate was
shipping.
about $1,500 per sign. When you only do one, for example, like with this one I was talking, it's more like $2,000
Right.
and $2,200 for one sign. So there's efficiency in doing a group.
have we considered approaching the Chamber of Commerce to find out if perhaps there are corporate sponsors available
I have
who
not.
may be interested in?
Not recently. Not recently, but the typical way would be, okay, so no, let me, let me restate that. As a commission, we don't go out and raise private money. It gets pretty complicated. So answer to your question is we operate as a CLG and we ask for a CLG grant, or we would get permission to ask for a grant from another organization such as Kenai Mountain Turnagain Heritage Charm. It's, you know, one of those organizations, and we would, an official organization that's a grant-making organization, we cannot solicit private money without getting into a lot of discussions.
And I think that has to be approved by city
Yeah,
council.
so we that would be a last resort for us, and with plenty of permission.
And that just raised a question in my mind of if, for example, one of these people on the list were like, well, yeah, I really want to sign it, I'm willing to pay for it. Can we do something like that? Or is that considered private money that we really
I
can't
think-
do that?
We have to ask. I think
I think we have to
that's a
ask.
question we'd have to find the answer to.
Because the city of Seward, I think, you know, we end up with city of Seward logos on the signs and everything. It's a representation of everything that is us, so it links to our website, it becomes a representation of the city. And so I think if that ever came up, then certainly it's something we could bring up, but that kind of comes to the point of what would be the instrument, right? So they would write a check, which again would be a private donation, which gets into a lot of complications. I would say, again, last resort, I say if we vote in August, if we're going to apply, we take the RD application that we have, we resubmit it in plenty of time this time, so there's plenty of review by the organization as well too, by the State Historic Preservation Office, and we try to go about it that route. And then if that's unsuccessful again, we could talk about it, but I'd rather go that route for sure.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. We're a CLG, so thank you for that. The letter, so I think it's a great idea to give an update. And you say in here that please rest assured remain committed to pursuing alternate funding opportunities. I just would say, please be assured that we remain committed to reapply with the next grant cycle, in a future grant cycle. That way we wouldn't even say September.
Okay.
We plan to reapply in a future grant cycle. I wouldn't say alternative funding opportunities because, again, that's going to bring up, well, can I just give you $1,000 then?
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. So that's really
I
interesting.
just,
that
basically, we're just notifying that they're still on the list and that we're gonna resubmit the grant at the next grant cycle, and we'll keep you posted.
we'll keep you posted.
Keep
the
it
next time we-
keep it real
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, and I think it's important because as I was going out and talking to all these people to see, are you still interested in potentially getting a sign for getting ready for this grant? I had a comment from one of them that they felt like they, wish that somebody had gotten back to them previously about when we were talking about this before, because they didn't know what was going on. So that's why I think making sure we're communicating with everybody is a good idea.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting because we had so much response, we were a little bit overwhelmed. And then the money didn't match the response in terms of we couldn't put 70 signs out there. And I think we kind of got lost in the beginning in terms of trying to get our 20, winnowing it down. So it was actually a really big project that I thought we did a really good job at, but I think you're right, keeping people posted because now they see the signs. And I think there's a lot more people that want one. They
true.
see what they are.
True statement.
And at that time, we were unknown quantity. So, if you need somebody to go out and talk to people, I'm happy to do it, Marianne.
Well, I pretty much talked to all these people already when I first went around to go.
Right, so a letter's probably just
Interested in a sign
appropriate.
if we can get some money, so I'll just,
Yeah.
kind of close the loop with all.
Yeah, a follow-up, and this is a perfect follow-up, but just keep it real simple.
Yep, this is keep away from private funding or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Just say, so remain assured, remain committed to making this project happen, reapplying in a future grant cycle. That's it.
Gotcha.
That's good.
Real simple.
I like
All
it.
right.
Perfect, thank
We'll
you.
definitely do that.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for the report. Any citizen comments? Hearing none. Commission and administration comments. Starting over administration. Ms. Kurtz, any commentary at all? All right. Go Beck.
No comment, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Walker? Any comments?
No.
All right. Vice Chair Ward?
Thank you for all the hard work.
I
Thank
echo
you
that.
to the staff, to the support people, and all the hard work that people do outside these meetings. We're kind of clicking along.
We are that. Commissioner Benoit?
I just wanted to echo the thought that I feel like it's really nice to have a full commission and a supportive staff, and I'm really happy about all that. I was excited about all the ideas we had to really promote Historic Preservation Month, because I think that really helps get the word out and get people excited about things. The third thing is I totally forgot, but I got the signs for Rotary Park that are going to go up over there.
They're real nice.
They're actually in my car at the moment, and we're a partner on that with our logo, so if anyone wants to see them,
They're
That's
very nice.
let me know, and when we go out, I'll show them to you, so.
Exciting.
They're very nice.
Commissioner Mashburn?
Actually, just a couple of questions. Have we been exploring any further the notion of establishing historic districts?
Not this go-around.
It's on kind of the back burner,
Okay.
along with our guidelines.
Right.
Yeah.
And the second question, have we ever, as a commission, focused on native histories in Seward.
I don't know about the history since, not recently, certainly something I'd be interested in.
We have a little bit at the historic walking tour sign at the library. There's something that's kind of where we discuss a little bit, and there's some info on that sign.
I know RBHS had someone come in from Katuchek and talk, did one of the, they have a every 3 week, on the third Thursday, community talk down in the community room, and I know that they focused on that, and I believe they're doing some exhibits. Are they doing any exhibits? Updating those?
Yes, there is a few updates happening within the exhibits committee that we are collaborating with Katuchik. A great contact for any native history would be Dolly Wild.
Dolly Wild.
Yeah.
She's the chair of the...
She's the tribal administrator, and you could probably pop by the museum because she'll be popping in a few times. Because she'll be working with the library. Unfortunately, they were not able to accept, they didn't get a grant for a certain exhibit that we were planning on for the library, but as we all understand, when you get one door closes, another window opens. Thank you, Julie Andrews. So that's kind of like the philosophy right now. So we're kind of working on different exhibits to go in for the library and museum. And I think having some representation from HPC would be wonderful, just to kind of have a good collaboration going.
I'd be very interested in helping collaborate with that,
Yeah.
personally myself. So, thank you very much. Anything else, sir? All right, and Miss Stacy, anything else to close us out?
No comment.
Thank you, everybody, for your support. Great 2023, full commission on to 2024 and our Historic Preservation Month here coming up. Appreciate everybody's efforts and support. I'm calling the meeting of tonight to a close.